Yo, how's it going? It's Wednesday. I'm trying to call it What's Up Wednesday. I don't know if it's gonna stick though. Um, Obviously Sundays at 6 sounds good. Sounds smooth. Dane's already claimed that, so it's trying to figure out something for Wednesday for Brendan and I. Um, so I'm trying to figure out a few things. If you got any ideas? Please throw that in the comments. What's Up Wednesday is the best that I can do today. Today being Canada Day. I was gonna wait a couple seconds, see who wants to show up here. It's Elorn. Um, it's difficult hopping on here sometimes because I have to follow Brendan and Dane, two incredibly talented musicians who can just play and perform. And as much as I'm sure some people like just play drums, I'm like, no, it's not. It's probably not going to happen. So um, I'm more on here to chat about a few things and give some updates with the band and answer any questions people have. Um, I just want to hop on. Devin, I see you in the comments already. Um, for those who don't know, Devin had a work accident. I think it was yesterday. Um, it looks pretty serious. Hope you get well soon. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looks. Because it looks pretty scary. So just want to send some positive vibes out to you. Hope you get well soon. Anyways, today is not anyways, but today's Canada Day here in Canada. It's a weird one. Not to go political right out of the gate, but it's a weird one. Even trying to put a post together this morning with a lot of history, especially Canada and U.S., a lot of history being dug up, and people wanting to answer a few questions and question a few things the governments have been doing and the systems they realize have been in place after. Again, I'm apologizing to anyone in advance that doesn't want to talk politics, but today's the day to kind of do some of that stuff. So it's interesting to talk about Canada Day because for a lot of people there's a lot of pain attached to it, specifically Aboriginal Indigenous people here. And the way Canada kind of formed and how things kind of happened, Canada Day as it stands kind of marks like the day that it was taken away from the original owners and the original people that were living here. But also, it's like there's a lot of people that want to celebrate Canada Day in the sense of what Canada means to them past all that history. There's a lot of people just straight up immigrated to Canada, and they don't have any knowledge or attachment to that history. So it's difficult to kind of ride between the two lines there. But I think the greater good that more people are learning about the history of the country and learning why things are the way that they are, why there's a divide between the Canadian government and the Aboriginal people here. So I think it's good that it's opening up the conversation. It's asking questions. I saw one post, a mother, she was talking to her kids today, and she was acknowledging the lands, the original map with the tribes, and it's like how things kind of looked before other people settled here. So I think that's good. I think it's good the conversation's coming. Can you go back and change history? Not really, but you can always take what you know from that and try to make things right going forward. There's a long list of injustices that are going on here still, and I think the older we get and the older the generation gets, the more we can start to look at trying not. You can't right some of the wrongs that have been done, but at least acknowledge them and try to move forward in a way that works for as many people as possible. So Canada it's kind of a tricky day. Usually when people get together, go to cottages, fireworks, it's barbecues, but because of the virus that can't be named because you get shadow banned on streaming services, it's shut a lot of people down. It's not shut them down, but it's stopped a lot of people from going out and taking part in events or just playing smaller events. So a little bit bittersweet with Canada Day today. Again, apologize for hopping into politics right out of the gate, but if there's a time to say something, today is the day. How's everybody's week going? I know a lot of Tenth Machine and Dead Set fans. It's a lot of Americans. So today's Wednesday. for a lot of people. This is a holiday for a lot in Canada. A few people are working because sometimes they'll move the holiday to the Friday, or you can take a long weekend on the Monday or something. How's everyone's week going? And in the comments, your state, are you still open, or is it looking like you're closing down? Because I was really hoping by August things would be sort of settled and be opening up again, so we can start getting some touring going. Because I know I started seeing some tour dates pop up, and it's my computer hands look way bigger because of the forced perspective on the phone. I was messaging management and booking and our agent, just being like, hey, I've started to see some tours popping up. Like, can we? Is this a thing we might be able to get going? And because the border is closed, like, we can't really pitch for some of those tours because they don't know if we're able to even go, and also we don't know if it's safe. So it's been really, really difficult this year. I know Brendan, Dana, myself, like, we've been very patient with what's going on with the touring, and even there's a few bands that are coming up to Canada in the fall, and we've been trying to pitch for those as well, which we obviously have a better chance of landing one of those tours than getting a U.S. tour right now. But yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult, and especially with when you're in Canada and you're watching what's going on in the U.S. and how these hotspots are popping up. It's like, well, so if you're on tour and you go through one of those spots that might be just about to be a hotspot, you start dragging all that with you, because you think about like, it's different because there's three of us in a band, but if you think about there's a 4-piece band and they might have 4 other people that work with their crew, there's 8 people that are dragging around stuff from state to state, city to city. So it could be a little longer than we were thinking. We were hoping by the end of summer we might be able to get some stuff ironed out and get going. I'm seeing in the comments here, border's still closed till the third week of July. Yeah, like it's still around the 21st is when they've been bumping it back. But all I can ask is everyone, do your part, wash your hands, don't touch your face. If you can, really encourage people to wear masks if you're going out especially into shops and stuff like that. So do your part. That's all you can do. I firmly believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% of the work comes from 20% of the actions. And I know that when my lovely wife and I, when we're out doing groceries or whatnot, I feel like I see 80% of the people wearing masks and taking care of themselves and distancing, and and I'm hoping that that's helping here, being an international hub still, because again, flights are still coming in and out of Europe and still coming in and out of the States. So it is tricky, but everyone, I'm just asking again, as musicians, that need to tour and want to tour, and their industry's been pretty much decimated at this point. There's some bands that are not going to make it through this. And, we're going to know that in the next year or two. They're going to look at each other and be like, it's the conditions we're under right now. We might not be going out. So I'm talking with bigger bands when they get the larger operations going on, sports too. But anyways, again, last time I'll ask. I know I went from politics to health related stuff, but just do your part. Please do your part. Spread the word as much as you can. Lauren's saying they suspended all bars and venues here in Florida again because a bunch weren't complying with capacity limits. Yeah, we're seeing that downtown Toronto already as well. It's difficult, but I don't know. I don't want to share what I think is going to happen in the next 2 months, because it's not pretty. But again, I'm hoping I'm wrong. Let's go through the comments here for a second. Kitcher, how's it going? Devin saying I'm doing much better. Had them cleaned today. Thank you so much. That's good to hear, and it sounds like you're in good spirits. When I saw that pop up on Facebook yesterday, I was like, that is not good. And again, it's difficult, because like when we're touring, I'm going somewhere with this for a second. When we're touring, I half joke with people that everything is fine until it's not fine. And I can imagine you woke up for work that day and everything was fine until you had an accident at work, and now things are not fine. And like, you could say that about anything in life, but like, you know, it's crazy how quick things can change. So again, glad to hear you're in good spirits and you're feeling a little bit better today. Austin saying hit 5K. Is that your Instagram? I've been following that. Austin's been tearing it up on. Austin Williams been tearing up on his Instagram. His gaming stream. Feel free to hop your or put your gaming channel in the thread. I'm gonna open that up today. I'm gonna allow that. I gave you the green light on that, Austin Tyler Williams. Cindy is asking, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good, actually. Today, Canada Day plans, the wife and I, was build a barbecue. We've been talking about having a barbecue, like owning one for the better part of 5 years, it feels like, and finally pulled the trigger on it and got a barbecue, and it just barely fit. An old Snowball 1. It's our hatchback, our vehicle, and I remember looking at the box a couple days ago. I'm like, this might just fit, and if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to figure that out in the parking lot at Costco. But we built that today. That was fun. It was very hot in the backyard, especially that it's a very reflective barbecue. So anytime something sat out in the sun too long and you touched it, it was hot, and so you had to go in the shade and let it cool down for a second. We got that put together. It was good. We don't need to. I was half joking that if it was very difficult, we should have the paperwork beforehand. So if we need to go our separate ways after we build this barbecue, we can decide who gets the barbecue. You know, you got to get these things nailed out. Bands need a band agreement, and sometimes couples need relationship agreements for certain things. Just takes the guesswork out of certain aspects of any relationship. I'm in the doghouse already. So that was our plans today, and obviously I wanted to stream today because What's Up Wednesday. I think Dane just hopped on here. Else I want to talk about today. Playlist. Brendan has been on a playlist blitz lately. Been getting Best Mistake added to a whole bunch of playlists on Spotify. And thinking about that, I was like, we should put our own official 10th Machine Spotify playlist together. So went through and got some songs together last night. I'm gonna put this into the thread. I'm gonna use my own profile to put this into the thread. Boom, into the thread. So I put together. I don't know if it's actually gonna come up. Oh, there it is. Put together a Spotify playlist. Lots of tunes that we like. Lots of bands that we like. Bands we listen to when we're traveling on tour. A few older tracks that seem to be frequent in the van. And a few Canadian tunes in there. I know I put Big Wreck in there a couple times. Dane and myself, and Brian, we're all big fans of Big Wreck. And so I slipped a couple of those tunes in there. So you might hear like, you know, Gojira Stranded, and then it might go into like Big Wreck, The Oaf, or something like that. That's okay though, because our playlist, we can do what we want. So check that out if you want. I think it's about 7 hours long. That was the other thing last night. Was I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick like 100 songs, because the thing about the good playlists is you don't kind of bounce over the same song over and over again. There's enough time there, so if you're listening to it for a couple hours a day, there should be enough of a mix in there. But when you get to like 40 or 50 tracks, and you're like, wow, like 100's a lot. 100's a lot of songs. And then when I got to 100, by that point, because on Spotify you can keep going to like similar artists, and by the time I got to like close to 100, I was like, oh, what about so and so? What about this? What about that? And you just keep kind of picking stuff. So I think I'm at 109. I tried to stop at 100, and it just didn't work. You know what? If you're gonna put the brakes on, sometimes you gotta put them on a little sooner than you think. So it was a bit of a rolling stop. A little bit into that intersection, but that's okay. It was still safe. So, again, the link to the Spotify playlist is in there. Feel free to follow. Feel free to check it out. Let me know what you think. If you like bands that are in there. Got some Star Sets in there. Some Bad Wolves is in there. There's Bush is in there. There's a Bush song that came out a couple years ago, I think, and I was like, this is awesome. I still can't find it. I think it was part of a soundtrack. Shinedown, Kill Switch, Papa Roach is in there. Um, when I was going through the Papa Roach stuff years ago, I think maybe 2016. Yeah, I think it was 2016. I was playing with Age of Days. I remember on tour with Papa Roach and Pop Evil, and I was familiar. I was obviously familiar with Papa Roach's music, and it's just so different when you hear bands recorded and then you go hear them live. And sometimes when you hear them live, you're just like, holy, it's like this. There's something that is not captured on the recordings that's going on here right now. And like Jacoby's energy and just the way that he, like, just the way the whole band functions. But like Jacoby, like, for sure, he's great on recordings, but like live, like it's another level. And I just want to, don't want to get the name wrong. I think it's where the angels go. There's 109 songs. I gotta scroll through quick here. Actually, I got a smarter way to do this. I'm gonna filter this. Yeah, where did the angels go? I remember like the first time I heard that. It's not the connection. First time I heard that song live when we were on tour with them, I was just like, because usually there's one song that bands play. Because like when you're on tour, this is kind of taking some of the romance out of touring. But like when you're on tour, you kind of watch the bands the first couple shows and you get an idea what they're doing and what it sounds like, and because there's a lot of other things that are going on and you need some of the audio cues so that you know when you need to be back to merch or you need to get your stuff moved, or there's little things that happen behind the scenes where so you kind of play off some of those cues, like, okay, well this is going, so I need to make sure this is happening. But there's usually one or two songs that I have to go watch, and Where the Angels Go by Papa Roach. Like whenever they like, this is a guitar riff and just everything that when it was firing, I'm like, this is awesome. Lauren Sink, I went to that tour at the House of Blues in Atlantic City. We were Age of Days was there. I'm pretty sure we were there because I remember at House of Blues there's a really crap load in that takes forever and it's super long. Like, cause you gotta like go in through the back and there's like loading docks, and then you always know you're in trouble when you show up at a venue and they're like, I'll get so and so to show you where to go. And you're like, okay, so we're gonna, like, you're assuming you're gonna have a Spinal Tap moment and get lost if you don't know, if you don't have someone to follow. But like following this dude where to go on load-in was like, it was like a walk. Like I run out of jokes after such a period of time, and I was like, I don't even know what to say anymore. But yeah, it was a long walk. Luckily, there's some handlers there or some loaders to help bring the gear in, and it wasn't too bad. But the best part of some of those gigs, so I think Atlantic City. I think there's the casino there. Again, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing myself because Atlantic City, I think it's mainly casinos. But I feel like that was one of the stops where they usually feed you on those tours. They'll feed you dinner or they'll give you food tickets or vouchers or something like that. But they just like said, okay, down the hall, like over here. They don't need to show you where this is, but they're like, there's the employee cafeteria. Just go in and you're good because you've got passes. And I remember we ate like it was a mixture of like Thanksgiving and Christmas and hadn't eaten in a month and like straight animal. Like we went to town on this staff cafeteria. And the other thing too, and I'm pretty sure this was the venue. They had like, you know how they have fountain pop? Well, they had like fountain chocolate milk. And I was like, do I want to load up on chocolate milk before we play? Because this, like, that's my thing. Not before we play, but like I'm into okay, yeah, Lauren's saying Showboat Casino. Yeah, that's yeah, Showboat sounds correct. Or familiar. So I remember I got a little bit into the chocolate milk, and I was just thinking like, I hope this is not bad. It wasn't the greatest. I will admit it was one of those things where like chocolate milk's not a good choice, but I have a lasagna story actually, which I can tell another time. That was one of my worst decisions before a show. It was so good, but so, when you gotta run a race, you gotta make sure that there's the right fuels in the tank. Lasagna is not the right fuel if you need to play drums. Oh man, yeah. So anyways, yeah. Back to the initial point I was making. Yeah, there's songs that bands play when you're on tour, and you're just like, I need to go catch that song. And there's a little bit of nostalgia when I was putting the official Tense Machine, Revved Engine, Hard Rock, Active. I was trying to come up with a name for that too. Again, we got What's Up Wednesday, and I got Revved Engine. When I was trying to put the playlist together, I kept like I was down this road. I think it was up to like 2 o'clock in the morning, like messing around with like not messing around, but just looking at songs and listening to songs. And I started laughing to myself. I'm like, there's a lot of really good music out there. There's a lot of good bands, and it's like, duh, yeah, there is. So, anyways, it's just you take it for granted a little bit. That's the other thing too. It's like I'm a big fan of Spotify. Whatever streaming service you're using, like it's all at your fingertips. Like that's the other thing too. Like as music fans, it's like we have access to so much music these days, in an instant. So if you want to catch up on a discography from a band, it's like it just takes a second to click through. And I was half joking when the new Tool record came out. I'm like, there's like I haven't listened to at the point I hadn't listened to 10,000 Days or Lateralis or anything. Like I hadn't listened through them because I didn't have access to them. But then when I was listening to the last record, it's like I can just listen through all this. So I just put all this stuff on while I was working, and it was freaking awesome. Worth the wait. I'm just going to go through the comments here for a second. I just kind of went on a bit of a rant there for a second. Yeah, I appreciate everybody everybody hopping on here and saying hi. Austin saying, tell him to get Best Mistake on 102.7 and 997 The Blitz. Yeah, our Best Mistake radio campaign is going pretty good. Again, it's difficult in our position because it's like we're not touring, and like there's like three hands that all help wash each other on tour. There's the new music, there's the tour, and then there's the radio campaign. And it's like when all those hands are all washed, it's great. But when they're not, you're missing a piece of the puzzle there. Austin's saying got Reed's song on 997 The Blitz. That's awesome. It's good to help out independent bands. Scrolling through here. Sometimes too, it's hard with stations because like sometimes they get into their music meeting and they pass on it, and that's okay. You don't get to be mad at the stations because they're looking for certain things, and also with talk politics again, music politics, not government politics. There's only so many parking spots for new music to show up and go into rotation. It's one thing to have a feature, but it's another thing to actually get into rotation. So I think we're in rotation at 30 stations right now, which is great for what we wanted to do and what we're able to do right now. But again, if you're a friend or fan or you want to help bands out, it's like push for the station, and that could be one of these cases here with Austin Tyler Williams, what you're talking about with 99.7 with Reed's new song Monster. Check it out if you haven't already. If you're trying to help those bands, ask the stations if they've got a feature spot and if that artist or that song can go into that feature spot. That's one of the best things you can do to help bands out, because they're not just gonna hear from a fan like, oh, like check out this song and just pop it into rotation. They need kind of some point of reference of like, what do you want me to do with this? You want to listen to this? Is there a feature? Is there something? So that helps a lot, because like getting the feature, and if there's a response from it, that can get the door open where they might put it into light or low rotation, and you can kind of go from there. I'm seeing there's a lot of people saying hi. Kim, how's it going? Kim hung out on Tuesday at my gaming stream on my Hailing for Gaming channel. We're chatting about stuff. Cindy as well was there. We're hanging out. Was it good times? All right. I told the guys I would keep this under 30 minutes today, so I think I have 6 minutes left. If anyone's got questions, I got time for a couple questions. Kim's saying I can only see the top of your head. Hopefully that's a your end issue, because I've got my phone here. I've been going to the guys' cases about streaming in landscape in 16:9, and I wasn't going to do it today because my room behind me is a big disaster. But I'm looking at the feed on Facebook and it looks okay. Kim, if all you can see is the top of my head, I hope it it looks good on your end. I did comb my hair today, just in case. Beth, how's it going? If anyone's got any questions, I got 5 minutes. Before I forget, Rock 101. Back to speaking about radio station for a second. Rock 101. They've got a song battle going on right now. Our good friends in Farewell to Fear just ran the table the last 4 weeks. Went in, so we want to follow up strong. I want to follow up strong to that. So if you haven't already, you can vote daily. If you haven't already, hop on to the link. I think the link is actually pinned to the top of the Tense Machine page now. Hop in there and vote again. You can vote daily, so vote for Tense Machine Best Mistake. I know there's some other bands in there, good bands, solid rock acts in there. But if you could vote for us, that would help. Be much appreciated. Dane's saying you look stylish. You know what? Dane shows up like here. I just try to get like here. I just want to get onto the radar. Dane's always crushing it. He's crushing it with the looks. Maybe I gotta get some of my sunglasses collection out. Get some turbos rocking here. Compete. Probably gonna fail. Carmen saying Blue Jays shirt acceptable for Canada's Day. You know what? This is a decision about 45 minutes ago, because I just wear black shirts all the time. But you know what? This is the closest thing I have right now to a Canada Day shirt that isn't a Canada or Team Canada jersey. So, all right, I got time for one question. I didn't see any questions. No, Kim, one. Do you have a song picked for next single? In my mind, I do. A lot of it plays on to what the plan is looking like for the fall. Because I would love to. I would not say I would love to put another single out, but like I'm looking for, or we're looking for opportunities. Sorry, I just got like a bunch of individual messages show up, and I couldn't not read them. Going into the fall, we'll have an idea of what early next year is looking like. I know that's scaring some people already because it's like we just finished our taxes, and the year is going to be over before we know it. If we do put a second single out, I'm thinking it'll probably be October or November. If not, there's a little bit of back and forth right now about what we want to do going forward, because not that I want to... actually, I'm not going to say anything because then everyone will get mad if I say something. But yeah, we have like two paths going into the fall just based on what's going on. So second single, I know up here what I want to do. I know what management's looking at. I know what the rest of the guys are looking at. That being said, I think it all leads back to the same spot, which is world domination in the area of the genre of rock music, not just hard rock, but just rock music in general. I just want all of it to rock all the time. So, Kim saying I voted for Tense Machine. Hard to do with 10 years, and again, there's some solid bands in that song battle right now. But you know what? If you want the vote, sometimes you got to ask for the vote. Sometimes you got to do some canvassing. You got to go to the people and knock on the doors. Yeah, I see all the people, the chat lighten up with songs that people want for second single. I'm going to bring it full circle. Politically, I know who should make the decision if we're putting, not a matter if, but when we put a second single out. But you never know. Best Mistake could have a resurgence in the fall, especially if we're able to get out touring. Like that could be a thing. So I'm just looking in here. The questions. I'll take this question. Beth saying, feeling good, look great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm feeling pretty good. It's been weird. It's been weird because like so much went downhill in March, and I feel like, not to say like you start finding your new normal, but like I'm in a pretty good routine right now as far as work and health and personal life and future projects, and like everything just seems to be moving forward now in its own way, which I think is good. And I think that takes the stress off people. And I think one of the worst things a person can have hanging over them is stress. We've all got our own stress in our own ways, but you play the hand you're dealt, you work with what you got, and I think things are going pretty good right now, and I could probably speak for the guys as well. Like we've been having a lot more meetings lately than in general, because usually you see each other at a rehearsal or when you're writing or stuff. But like we've just been hopping on, you know, Brendan, Dane, and I, we've just been hopping on three-way chats and just hanging out and chatting about stuff, and just like you would when you're in the van and you're traveling, or like you would when you're in hotel rooms and you're just working on some band stuff. Because like a lot of the band stuff's not exactly exciting. It's kind of admin stuff. It needs to get done. So, all right, I think Maggie's got a question here. Do you have plans to start recording how many McDonald's runs you have in a month's time? I don't go to McDonald's in Canada. It's really expensive and it doesn't taste the same. When we do go back on tour, I'll be keeping track. I enjoy keeping the Grand Theft Auto type statistics for touring. It is, you know what? You gotta gamify life sometimes, and that's one of the games I like to play is keeping track of the stats. You know, it's fun. It's just funny. I miss touring so much. All right, I should get going. Thanks everyone who came and hung out on what is now temporarily, permanently, hopefully called What's Up Wednesdays. Again, Brendan and myself, we're taking over. There's Brendan and I, correct grammar. We're trying to take over the Wednesday. And Dane's he's taking over Sundays. So between those two, it's like you've got things to look forward to twice in the week. So that being said, we've got a couple other ideas in store. There's some technical things we need to sort out first, and hopefully once we get that figured out, we can bring some new content and new ideas for everybody. I think you'll enjoy them. Dane's saying challenge. I think he's talking about burger challenge or cheeseburger challenge. Yeah, that's a thing. We've already talked about that. Our good friend Wes Styles. I think he's gonna be the referee for that. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So I should leave it on that. Thanks again, everyone, for hanging out. Depending on the rest of my night, I might actually do some gaming streaming if anyone wants to hop on there and watch me relive. Not relive, but just like live through my Avatar hockey player. That's almost leading the league in penalties because I keep getting tripping penalties. I don't get it. One more question here. Gemma's saying, 10th Machine will have a Christmas CD. I don't know if I'll have a Christmas CD. Maybe we'll put a Christmas song together. Who knows? I'll leave it on that. I'll leave it on a cliffhanger. Who knows? All right, thanks again this is the very Canadian exit 2 where you say goodbye about 19 times. I learned about that a couple days ago. Thanks again for hopping on here. What's Up Wednesdays? If you're watching the replay on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. And ring the notification bell so you know when these happen. All right, thanks again, everybody. Have a good rest of your week. Be safe. Talk to you later.